RacinFreeks Sim Racing, brought to you by Stock Car Racing Experience at Pocono Raceway. The fourth race of the chase will kick off with Brian Johnson on the pole for his first race of the season. The lead would soon be taken over by the 77 of Mark Whitley exiting turn 2. But his teammate Zach Hall would dive to the inside, challenging Whitley for the lead of the race, but Whitley would hold off Hall as the outside line would prove to be too strong for the bottom lane. On lap 11, Hall would try again to use the bottom of 3 and 4 to get around Whitley, but would only end up giving second place to Cedric Hunter. The very next lap, in turn 3, Cedric Hunter would look to take the lead from Mark Whitley on the bottom lane, but with the 32 of Hall right behind the 2 leaders, he would look to take a 3 wide exiting turn 4 with a big run, but the gap would immediately close and cause him to lift and fall into line to the high side. On lap 18, Zach Hall would get to the outside of Mark Whitley down the front straightaway. Whitley would dive it off into the bottom lane, but the outside lane would prove to have too much speed, as Hall would take the lead, with Cedric Hunter coming also into second place behind him. With Hall and Hunter still leading the way, pit strategy would come into play as the 32 of Hall would pit from the lead on lap 26. This would hand the lead over to Cedric Hunter. Hunter would make his first pit stop of the race on lap 32, trying to stretch the fuel runs to only make 2 green flag pit stops, while the other leader of Hall is on the 3-stop strategy. With Hunter having pitted, Hall would take over the lead with a giant lead to second place. Hall would continue to lead till he would pit again from the lead on lap 51 for his second green flag stop of the race. This would give the lead back to Cedric Hunter on lap 54. With Hall coming fast on new tires, he would get back on the lead lap, taking it almost 3 wide. As you can see, the difference in speed versus old tires versus new tires was a huge difference in this race. On lap 65, Cedric Hunter would pit from the lead for his final green flag pit stop of the race. One lap later, on lap 66, Zach Hall would retake the lead, with him still needing to make another green flag pit stop. On lap 76, with only 24 laps to go, Hall would make his final green flag stop from the lead. This would cycle the lead back into the hands of Cedric Hunter, who would then have more than a half a track lead over Zach Hall on the 3-stop strategy. All strategies would be thrown out the window on lap 79 as the first caution would come out as chase driver Brandon Mullen would spin coming out of turn 4. Cedric Hunter would lead the field to pit road to get some fresh tires. Hall would win the race off pit road with only a 2-tire stop with only 3 laps on his left side tires. The next restart would only happen with 16 laps to go. Hall would get a great restart, but Cedric Hunter would get a great push from Nick Crawford down the front straightaway to stay on Hall's right rear quarter panel coming off of turn 2. Entering turn 3, Hall and Hunter would make contact, with Hall eventually clearing Hunter off of turn 4. But that would not be the end of this battle, as Cedric Hunter would take his car to the bottom of 1 and 2 and try to clear Hall, but again the high line would prove to be too strong. On lap 86, we would see our second caution with a big wreck on the front stretch. That would include the chase driver Jeff Gilmore. Here's a replay of the contact between the leaders on the last restart, but the question would be, what would happen on the next restart? Some drivers would hit pit road, but the top 4 would stay out under caution. The next restart would happen with only 9 laps to go in the race. Both Hall and Hunter would get great restarts, with them being dead even down the front stretch, but right before corner entry, the two would bang doors twice, battling for the lead. Coming out of turn 2, the two would make more contact, sending Hunter up the racetrack and letting Hall clear him for the lead. But the battle would not be over, as entering turn 1, Hunter would try to dive it to the inside of Hall and take the lead, but the high line would be too fast. Through turn 3 and 4, Hunter would be all over the back bumper of Hall, almost pushing him through the corner. Hunter would then dive it on the apron, trying to get the Hall's inside, but would get loose on the apron and lose ground to Hall, giving him some breathing room. The third and final caution would fly on lap 96, ending the race under caution. The 32 of Zach Hall would win his 6th race of the season and his first chase race, locking him into the next round of the chase. With the final race of the round 1 of the chase at Daytona next week, the battle for 8th place in the standings are at a melting point. Here are our standings after the race at Kansas.